into your heart, and Allah is always there. You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode of Family Issues. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the universe. Peace, prayers and blessings of Allah are due upon Prophet Muhammad and his family, companions and those who follow him till the day of judgment. Ameen. We are going to resume here in Family Issues our series about how to solve conflicts within family. After Ramadan, we started a series about how to manage and resolve the conflicts within the family, especially between spouses. We had discussed what Allah told us in the Holy Quran about how to solve conflicts within family and how to take gradual steps in solving these problems, again, especially between husband and wife. We had discussed in a later episode the best techniques to avoid and resolve conflicts, to avoid conflicts before they happen and to resolve them if they do happen from the perspectives of human development specialists. Also, we knew the differences between men and women regarding how they deal with conflicts and how to consider these differences to avoid more conflicts. However, probability of not solving the conflicts is still there. So what if all of these solutions and techniques did not work? What if the spouses reach a point of no return? What if the marriage life between the two became a burden, a huge burden on both that they cannot take anymore? That is why Allah legalized divorce in Islam and allowed it and made it lawful. On the other side, of course, we can notice that there are many negative effects on the family after the occurrence of divorce, and sometimes injustice happens to one of the spouses, especially to the wife, and most of the times injustice happens to the children, and the children pass through very difficult times after divorce. So we'll be discussing how to avoid such negativities if the divorce does take place. And also we will be talking about whether Muslims really do follow the regulations of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when it comes to the Sunnah in these matters. Do Muslims even know these regulations? Do we protect our wives even after divorce? Allah the Almighty is all just, and do we have guarantees in Islam that women will not be oppressed after divorce or deprived from her rights? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, الطلاق مرتين فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان. Divorce is twice, then either keep her in an acceptable manner or release her with good treatment. So do Muslim men really release women with good treatment? Inshallah, in this episode we are going to discuss how divorce can be made right according to Sharia and how to avoid injustice from the occurrence of a divorce. In other words, how to divorce properly. We'd like to hear from you on 002 02 38 555 248 or 249. That's our phone number. You could also call us online with our Skype accounts, Huda_TV, and feedbacks on facebook.com/family issues. That's one word. Our email is familyissues@huda.tv. Tonight we are glad to have with us Dr. Mahmoud Ad-Dinawi to continue our series. Dr. Ad-Dinawi is lecturer of Islamic Studies at Al-Azhar University. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Dinawi. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you for being here.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you very much for...
Thank you, Dr. Dinawi. So, first of all, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us in the Holy Quran about divorce?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى ولا سيما نبيه الذي اصطفى صلى الله وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى وصحبه وسلم. Before talking about divorce, let me remind myself, remind the rest of the viewers about a hadith that most people learn by heart. They memorize the hadith very well. originally the hadith is not authentic. In Arabic, إن أبغض الحلال عند الله الطلاق. The most hateful things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, among the things He created, is divorce. This hadith is not right, it's not an authentic one. So it's not a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, because how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates something and then He hates it. No, divorce sometimes could be a solution for problems. When, for example, there is a big conflict, or as you have just mentioned, when they reach the point of no return, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the solution. And the verse in the chapter of Al-Baqarah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الطلاق مرتان, divorce is 2 times. Either you take them, you stick to them, or you relieve them with good treatment. I remember one of the very interesting stories about one of the pious people who has just divorced his wife. And the man asked him, okay, what do you think about her? He said, don't ask me, because she is no longer my wife. Ask her new husband. Right? So once he divorced her, he shouldn't talk badly about her. He should give her full rights. No oppression should be taken by any party anyway.
Right, and that's the and we also talked in previous episodes about how to avoid this. And how to avoid conflicts, or try to avoid conflicts before they happen. Conflicts, of course, always do happen. We talked about how to resolve them. So we're here talking about the status of divorce after, of course, trespassing all of the previous attempts to resolve conflicts.
Yeah, that's right. If divorce has taken place, then all steps of the Sunnah of the Prophet should be followed here, and we should also take care of the rights of others, because the one who, for example, violates or takes a woman's right, for example, or prevents her from her rights, then he is going to be questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is an unjust person. He, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, bil ma'roof, with good treatment, whether you are married or even whether you are divorced.
Right, and if divorce does happen, then also things that we've been taught in the Holy Quran and by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to try to avoid this should have been taken. I mean, the steps to try to avoid this should have been taken. So once it happens, well, what is then we have to do it again by Sunnah. What is the meaning of Sunni divorce?
Sunni divorce is to divorce the wife only one time. Right? And then you divorce her after, for example, she was menstruating, she is pure, and then he divorces her in this time. This is what's called a Sunni divorce. So when Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, he divorced his wife while she was menstruating. Then the Prophet ﷺ told him in the 7th hadith, just bring her back till she becomes pure, then she menstruates, and then she becomes pure. Either you can keep her or you can divorce her. Yeah, so only once, one time.
Dr. Dinawi, allow us to take in Brother Hassan over the phone now. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Hassan. Thank you for calling Family Issues. Go ahead, brother.
Hello?
Yes, Brother Hassan, we hear you. You are on air. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. How long should I wait to marry after divorce? And why should I wait this time? And what if I didn't wait?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, Brother Hassan. Any other question or comment?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Dinawi will be answering your question. You got the question.
Okay. He's asking about the iddah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. So she should wait for 3 menstruating periods or 3 lunar months. And some people say nowadays, for example, why should she wait all this time? Nowadays we have technology, we have what's called pregnancy test, so she can find out whether she is pregnant or not. But these are the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the regulations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made. So we can't, for example, say that technology or pregnancy tests or all these things.
Besides, the test could be wrong. I mean,
that's right. That's not for sure.
There's a percentage that of error in it.
And I was reading a very interesting article a few days ago about, they say that there is something like genetics, or they remain in the woman's womb for more than maybe 3 months. So that's why here the waiting period is 3 months until she becomes totally clear. There is no trace of the period of the previous husband in case of divorce has taken place. So if she wants to get married again, she needs to wait for 3 months.
That's if she is going to get remarried to another person.
Yes, if
she remarries her ex-husband. then
Sorry.
I mean,
in the 3 period, she is still waiting. Her husband might, for example, return her back
right.
to his asma.
Right.
But if he divorces her, then after that she can marry.
I understood. But if it is her husband that divorced her and they want to go back with each other, she doesn't have to wait 3...
No. The maximum time is the 3 months. In these 3 months,
Yeah.
he has the right to bring her back.
Mm.
If the 3 months ended, right, then he has to make a new contract again and pay mahr again, right? Because now she is like a new wife to him.
Mm-hmm.
But before the 3 months end, then there is no dowry, there is no mahr, there is nothing. He can bring her back anytime he wants.
What if she doesn't want to go back?
Okay, she has the right to be divorced.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about the Sunni divorce and how it should be performed.
Yeah.
What is the bid'i divorce?
The bid'i is the contrary to that.
Yeah.
The bid'i is to divorce his wife 3 times. Like some people, for example, say at the same time, at the same moment, he says, you are divorced, you are divorced, you are divorced. This is bid'i. This is not the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And then he divorces her while he had sexual intercourse with her, or right after being pure, after finishing her menstruating period, and then he made sexual intercourse to her. This is called bid'i. But it takes place in it, but it's not, it's disliked because it's not the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So if a husband tells his wife, you're divorced 3 times, at the same instant, it only counts for one.
It counts only one, yeah.
It counts only for
Yeah.
one. Right. And we heard before, we want to know from you whether this is right, from some scholars saying that if there was the husband was not in was in a state of anger, for instance, state of
that's right.
utter anger, uncontrollable state, psychological state, then this could be discounted. Is
yes,
that
it doesn't count. They say the juristic principle they rely on is the saying la talaqa fi ighlaq. They translated the word ighlaq. It means that the person doesn't know his surroundings. He's unaware about what he says. Even he doesn't know his name. If you say to him, for example, Ahmed, Ali, he said, what? He is in a complete anger, so he doesn't know anything. But nowadays, unfortunately, people take these things slightly. When there is a little problem, he goes to the sheikh and he said, oh sheikh, I was in a complete anger, and does this count or not? The sheikh might be unaware about the situation. He says, okay, he depends on this juristic rule, and he said that divorce doesn't count. But it's a big issue.
So for it to count,
Yeah.
The husband must have said it while he's completely aware of what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we judge this? I mean, it's arbitrary.
It's just something complicated in a way. But the person himself who is very angry, it could be noticed. As I said, he doesn't remember anything. He is in a complete anger that he can't control his words. He can't control himself. Even he doesn't recognize his children in that case, right? So it's something very, subhanAllah, they make these things to try to keep the family, because as we know that divorce means breaking the family down, making children harmless, causing a lot of trouble.
So it must have been said with intention,
yes,
for it to count. And I guess the only person after, the only human being, of course, Allah is the all-knowing, and He knows more than we know about ourselves. So the only one who knows whether it was said with real intention after Allah is that person himself who said it.
Yeah.
So here the person has to be has to judge himself. كَفَى بِنَفْسِكَ
اليوم عليك
اليوم
حسيب.
حسيب. I mean, we have to be true, honorable judges, right?
Yeah, and I always say for families to go smoothly and to go nicely, we should take this word away from our homes. Because many people, they just take
Misuse
it for jesting,
Yeah.
for making fun, and then just they say, for example, divorce, but this word should be avoided anyway.
We even see people swearing by it. I mean, we all know, of course, that
Yes.
Swearing by if you swear by anything, then it's haram unless you're swearing by Allah.
Some people say
So-
it's
But some people swear by divorce.
Yeah.
I mean, say alayya talaq. I mean,
Yes,
they swear
that's
by
right,
the
that's
divorce.
right.
And this is in the slang language, and it's very common
Yeah.
in many countries in the Arab world.
And that's not right, because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he says, the one who swears by anything else other than Allah, he has committed a shirk. So if anybody swears by divorce, by his life, by his honor, even by the Prophet ﷺ, by anything else, then this is a matter of committing disbelief. But if he wants to, and some scholars said, the one who says the word, for example, alayya talaq in slang Arabic, in slang Egyptian, they say he is a munafiq. Right? Because the word talaq itself, it should only be used when they have come to a complete full stop. There is, all attempts have been made, and there is no way to bring the two parties again, then divorce should take place here.
Right. We all know about the negativities that might occur after divorce, and usually they do occur. First of all, let's talk about the children, because they are the ones who suffer the most.
That's right.
In the black majority of cases from divorce. So if it does happen, how do we preserve the rights of our children?
Anyway, the children have the right to be spended on. So the father, as the hadith says, كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ إِثْمًا أَنْ يُضَيَّعَ مَنْ يَعُولُ. It's enough, a big sin for the person to just neglect his children. Once he divorces his wife, for example, so he is responsible to feed them. He is responsible for his wife as well. She has to take her rights in full. If there is a remaining part of the dowry, for example, or whatever, right? So, because if he left the children to be homeless or to be whatever, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is going to ask him, because the hadith is very clear when the Prophet ﷺ said that every one of you is responsible, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him about his responsibility on the Day of Judgment.
كلكم مسؤول.
كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته.
Right. Where do the children stay? What did the Prophet tell us about?
He has to provide them with housing. He should prepare them a house, for example, right? And according to the law here, I think they remain in the custody of the mother until they reach about 14, and then they go back to...
Right, these are man-made laws, but what about the Sunnah? Does it tell us something very specific about this? Where do children stay? About the custody, about...
If the wife, for example, she's not getting married again, then she should keep them. And then the husband or the father should pay them visits. And anyway, even if, as we mentioned from the very beginning, if divorce has taken place, the relation again should be a kind relation between the two. The father can go, for example, with some, of course, regulations, just to visit his children in the presence of someone else, because that ex-wife, she is no longer his wife again. So there should be a mahram or whatever to arrange these things.
Right. As far as you know, Dr. Dinewi, are Muslims in general these days aware of the rules governing divorce, and how should a relationship be between a husband and his ex-wife after divorce? And
unfortunately, the majority, I would say, of such cases, we see subhanAllah, in the courts nowadays, thousands of cases every year about divorce, and about sometimes the case of divorce itself is something which is very trivial, right? Like, for example, I'll tell you something which is very, very disturbing. A few days ago, I was reading a story, and a lady, she was asking for divorce. Why? Because her husband, for 3 nights, he didn't say to her good night, right? So she got angry, and then she said, I'm going to the court because 3 nights passed and he didn't say to me good night. So is this a reason that you ask for divorce? You are going to destroy a complete family, to destroy the children. He might have forgotten, for example. He might come tired. You need to sit with each other and try to make something like reconciliation. But to have a divorce for something very simple, I don't think this is the right case. Am I right? Or,
Like, yes.
as before, I think I mentioned this, when a lady, for example, her husband doesn't brush his teeth,
Right.
and she said, okay, I'm going to go to the judge tomorrow to ask
Yeah.
for divorce. This is, and when, subhanAllah, they find out the consequences of divorce, they come to any sheikh, they come to any scholar, oh, sheikh, I didn't mean it, I was just joking. When I was in the UK, I used to receive many questions, and people say, oh, I was just threatening her. I didn't mean divorce. I said, no, divorce means divorce. You can't play with divorce. You can't make fun, right? You say just, anti-taliq, for example, and he says, okay, I'm just joking. This is not joking. Once you said it, it counts.
What about text messaging it or emailing it and stuff like that?
Some scholars nowadays said this doesn't count. Why? Because someone else might steal your mobile number. The wife herself, she might steal, for example, the SIM card. She sends a text message to herself, right? Or the emails. The emails can be, nowadays, can be hacked, for example, by many people, right? So this is, again, this is, subhanAllah, this is still something debatable. But a lot of scholars said that these devices or these modern ways of divorce do not take place. Because, as I said, the phone might be used by another one.
All right, Dr. Dinawi, allow us to get in a sister from India calling us on Skype. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for joining us, and go ahead, sister. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, Sister Rafa from India. Go ahead. Assalamu alaikum.
See, one of my friends, she got married in June, and now her husband doesn't want to keep her, and she is pregnant, and husband insists for abortion. So, what is the rule according to Sharia?
Yes. Sister Rafa, can you repeat again? I heard abortion. This is what I heard. But can you repeat from the beginning again?
This girl got married in June.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And just June, that means only 3 months back.
Yes.
After 15 days itself, he started entreating her, and I don't know why, he keeps telling that he doesn't want her.
He doesn't want the baby?
Doesn't want the wife.
He doesn't want his wife. You mentioned that she's pregnant?
He wants to separate from the wife, and since she is pregnant, he wants her to go for abortion.
Okay. Okay, Sister Rafa. You want to know what Sharia tells us in this situation? Dr. Dinawi will be answering you, Sister Rafa.
Is allowed? Is abortion allowed in such circumstances?
Yes. Somebody else wants to talk to us? Please? Okay. Thank you, Sister Rafa from India. Dr. Dinawi, you understand? Yes. There is a case where a husband wants to divorce his wife. They were married in June. That's almost 3 months. The wife is already pregnant.
Yeah.
And he wants her to have an abortion. As far as I can, understand, is that he's putting either this or that. He doesn't want her or the baby. So it's a tragedy. It's a problem. I mean, what does how does Allah, how does Islam warn us from taking it so easily? I mean, from men taking things so easily, getting married and divorcing after 3 months, and although seeing the wife pregnant.
This is haram anyway, because the issue is, we remember the story of Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, when a man, he came to Umar, the Caliph, and he said, I want to divorce my wife. He said, why? He said, because I don't love her. He said, is everything built on love? Love will come later on. Many people, many young nowadays, when, for example, just they marry for 1 or 2, 3 months and say, I found out that I don't love her. right? So no love will be generated later on, right? The more time you spend with each other, inshallah, love will come. This is just and this is the experience. Many people say always that the issue of love comes after marriage. But the issue of abortion, for example, abortion is totally prohibited, totally haram, especially when there is about 120 days have passed since pregnancy started, and there is no legal reason for that. But if before the 120 days, if doctors found out that there is a huge risk for the mother's life, for example, or the baby is going to be a little bit defamed or distorted, as I said, before 120 days, then she has the right to make abortion. But for no reason, or the husband, for example, doesn't love her, or this is totally prohibited in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ, before he passes away, he recommended us to take care of women. He said, Allah fi nisa. And in another hadith, he also advised us, and he said, the best of you is the best to his family, and I am the best to my family and to my wives. Right? So I urge the brother, if he hears us now, to treat his wife nicely and to be careful about her, and he has to make sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask him if he is doing any injustice to her, then he's going to be questioned before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Indeed, and that could be not just injustice to her, but also to the baby she's carrying.
That's right.
So there is a real a tragic situation. We hope things change, and we hope that as you said, Dr. Dinewi, that men don't take it so lightly and so easily. I mean, it's not like a party or a picnic or going out, because some men are taking marriage and having kids as if they were just taking up a new job or going out to a trip or something.
For myself, alhamdulillah, I'm married for about 12 years, right? Since the first day, I have taken the word divorce out of my home. So it does not exist in my dictionary. It does not exist in my home. And that's why we made an agreement. I talked to my wife. I said, look, inshallah, this word will never have any place in our life. Because everybody, and that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he told us in the hadith, just the woman is getting married for her beauty, for her family, for her whatever, and then get the one who is religious. And then he told us again, if a person who is religious comes to you, then give him your daughter, otherwise you will be in a big loss.
All right. Dear brothers and sisters, Dr. Dinewi, allow us to take our first and only break here in this episode of Family Issues. When we come back, we will be continuing our discussion, inshallah. So please stay with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Never alone. You are never alone.
3, 2, 1.
What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up?
The firefighter uses what to control fire? Water or rocks? Now these two teams go head to head on pulling the blue rope. Now if one person goes over this line right here, the other team loses. Very simple rules. This challenge is worth 5 points.
What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up as a Muslim man?
Fun is for everyone, so get ready to have some fun. Check out these cool competitions between kids. It's important to have fun, and it's also important to be a good sport. So tune in to Fun for Everyone. You don't want to miss it.
What will I be when I grow up as a Muslim man? What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up? What will I be when I grow up as a Muslim man?
Assalamu alaikum and welcome, dear viewers from around the world, to our exciting program titled Good Answer. I'm your host Malik, and I'm joined by the Imam of America, the founder of Guide Us TV. He needs no further introduction. I think you know who I'm talking about, Sheikh Yusuf Estes. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum, Malik. My name is Ayman, and I think a lot of people would like to know, a lot of non-Muslims would like to know who Prophet Muhammad was.
We worship the God that he worshipped. And we worship that God the way he worshipped. So we consider Islam to be a way or a deen.
Right.
Anywhere. Anywhere. But that had never been before. He said this is a gift, never came before, that me and my followers, we can make our salah, our connection, anywhere.
Hey, Sheikh, you're on the hot seat. I like my seat over here. I'm feeling comfortable. Because he asked you a tough question. He asked you a good question. Can you give him a good answer?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. We're still talking with Dr. Mahmoud Ad-Dinawi, lecturer at Al-Azhar University, about rules governing divorce in Islam. So, Dr. Dinawi, do we have guarantees that in Sharia that women will not be oppressed after divorced or deprived from their rights? What are what is the guidance here, and what is the sunnah?
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Of course, we have many guarantees on the part of the Sharia. For example, the Sharia says that once the woman is divorced, then she has the right for accommodation or housing. She has the right for expenses or nafaqah if there is a remaining part of her mu'akhar sadaq or whatever, then he has to pay her. There is something also called mut'a, or an amount of money that should be paid, subhanAllah, because he has enjoyed her for a few years, for a few months, then in return he should. So all these for the sake of the woman. And again, if the problem is not with the Sharia, the problem with the people themselves, they do not look after or try to consider the Sharia. Once, subhanAllah, he divorced the wife, then he is doing his best to abuse her, to prevent her from seeing her children, to go to the court and do his best by tricky ways to show something which is fabricated, like some fabricated documents that say he doesn't earn a lot of money, although he gets a lot of money each month. And this is, subhanAllah, this is haram anyway, because she has the right. She has to be given her rights in full, as guaranteed by the hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, and as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِمْسَاكُمْ مَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Then,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Dr. Dinawi, what if a divorce happens between a Muslim couple living in the West, whether they are originally from Arabs or Westerners? I mean, it doesn't matter. Muslims. It's a Muslim couple, and divorce happened in the West. So, should they settle, for instance, their financial issues via Sharia and Sharia only, or should they, because they are living in this or that country, also walk with the rules governing those issues there?
Of course, they should apply the Islamic Sharia or the rulings of Islam, even if this country, for example, adopts a different system or adopts, like some courts, for example, in Muslim communities, they do not follow our system, right? So the husband here, if he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, and the wife also, then both of them should follow the Islamic rulings. What happens after divorce, what rights should be given, what things should be taken care of, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Again, what I meant by the question is, in some countries, in some Western countries, if the couple splits, then they split their fortune and stuff like that. But in Islam, this is not the case. At the same time, in the West, the husband is not supposed to.
But I think it's not obligatory there. It's just something voluntarily. So the husband himself, he can follow the Islamic Sharia and these things. So this issue is a bit complicated in a way. I think there is a big debate about, especially Muslims who live in the West, as you have just mentioned, when they separate, for example, how the fortune should be given to the wife or not.
All right. But what are the rights of the husband and the wife after divorce, Dr. Dinawi? What about we talked about the wife. What about the husband? What is the right of the husband after a divorce? Does he have any rights? in regards to his ex-wife?
Once he divorces his wife, for example, if, as I just mentioned, if there is mu'akhar sadaq or whatever, then he gives her to his wife. But for the husband, I'm not quite sure whether he still has some rights or not.
Right. Well, I guess what came to mind, the question regarding the rights of the husband is, for instance, an ex-wife cannot or should not prevent him from seeing his children.
Oh, that's right. Jazakallah khairan. Yes,
and maybe there are other things that don't come to mind.
You have just raised a very important issue, as it happens sometimes that, for example, the wife, she has a big family, she has a notable family, and then they are going to do their best. They change the address from time to time just to prevent the father from seeing his children. And this is his right. He or she is sinful. Once she prevents the husband from seeing his children, she's committing a big sin anyway, because he loves his children very well, and it's their right, the right of the children to say their father. She can't lie to them, for example, that your father is bad. She has to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this issue, and she always, I have read many stories about very, very good wives, and they keep their children very good stories about their husbands, ex-husbands, and because always the child should portray a good image about his father. Even the father himself was a little bit bad, because she can't terminate them eternally by any way. They are attributing to their father. Unless the father himself was very bad, then the case is different here.
Right. And what are the major mistakes most people do, Dr. Dinawi, with divorce?
Well, the major mistakes, like, for example, as we mentioned, when they follow the bid'i divorce, when he uttered the words of divorce 3 times, right? And another thing, that sometimes the divorce takes place with no justification, with no important reason. Divorce, as we agreed from the very beginning, it should be the last resort, when all ways have been totally blocked. There is no way to bring the couples back, then divorce takes place. So to say it 3 times, as we also discussed, to use something like mobile or whatever, or just to take it for fun. I remember when I was in the UK, someone was just laughing, and I'm quite sure about this happened before me, and I said to him, what happened? He said, oh, I divorced my wife. And then the next day I asked him, yesterday you were talking about divorcing your wife, is this real? He said, oh, I was just joking, brother. Subhanallah. This is not a matter of joking anyway. As I said, divorce is something very important, something very, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْكُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. They have taken a solemn covenant with you, and you have taken them by the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in them and in every word we say.
Right. Let's talk. Let's remind the viewers about al-idda, because sometimes it confuses a lot of people. Al-idda, if a wife is remarrying another person, naturally, because as you explained, if she's remarrying her own husband after the divorce had taken place once or twice, and the husband decides that he wants his wife back, then there was no idda in that case.
That's right. The idda, as the ulama and as the books of fiqh say, it starts from the time in which he divorces her. For example, if he divorces her now, then here the time of the iddah starts. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بَهُمْ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوء. People have different opinions about the word qur. Does it mean a month? Does it mean a menstruating period? Either it is 3 lunar months, for example, or 3 times of menstruating period. Once the 3 times or the 3 months have finished, then she has the right either to go back to her husband, or she can be divorced. And in this, some people also make another mistake. During the iddah herself, she doesn't have the right to contact anybody. She doesn't have the right to talk nicely to people, or to make a proposal, for example, or to talk to someone else for hoping she's going to marry him in the future, because up till now she is still a wife. She hasn't been divorced yet. Once the 3 months have been finished, then she either to go back to her husband or to be divorced. But within the 3 months, she doesn't have the right to make proposals or to talk nicely to anybody else for hoping that she might marry him, for example, in the future.
Clear enough. And Dr. Dinawi, again, the negative aspects that occur on the children due to divorce, how do we avoid them now? Once divorce has happened, some negativities are going to strike the children. How do we lessen the impact? How do we deal as a family, as a father, as a mother, as ex-partners?
That's right. I think it's better for both sides to come to good terms. They should make something like an agreement. Okay, the husband is going to pay for the children, pay for their educational fees and these things. And the mother herself, she should not prevent him from seeing his children. And he should do the same. He doesn't have the right at all to prevent his children from seeing their mother, for example. And again, the most important thing in this point here is everybody should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because all of us are going to stand before Him one day and we are going to be questioned. So if the husband was oppressing his wife, he's going to be questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the wife is doing some tricks also to deceive the husband or to prevent him, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask her again on the day of judgment.
Right. And also, finally, if remarriage happens to the husband or to the wife, the ex-partners, many times you'll find that the ex-wife married a man who is not good with the children, with her children, or that the ex-husband married a new wife that's not good, acting in a good way with his children. So how important is it for the ex-partners, once they decide to remarry, to consider that they should pick a partner that will help them with their children and that will be good to their children and not cause further psychological
That's right, but subhanAllah, if they just think before divorce takes place, this should have been much, much better, because we agreed, and you mentioned this many times, that the main victims are the children. The husband is going to marry a new wife. When the husband is at home, she is very nice to the children and she is like an angel. Once the husband goes to work, she beats them, she abuses them, she is hurting them by all means, right? And the same thing happens to the wife once she's at home, for example, and then, subhanAllah, so the children are going to suffer. If the person feels or cares about his children, he should avoid divorce by all means, and he should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let me remind my viewers and myself and everyone about the issue of anger. When a person came to the Prophet and they said, "O Messenger of Allah, give me a piece of advice," he said to him, "Don't get angry," right? Because always 95% or maybe more of the states of divorce comes as a result of anger. Nobody bears with the other.
Indeed, barakallahu feekum. Dr. Dinawi, jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you very much. Dr. Mahmoud Dinawi, lecturer of Islamic Studies at Al-Azhar University. Looking forward to continuing our series here on family issues, inshallah. Dear brothers and sisters, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to Brother Hassan from Egypt and Sister Rafa from India for contacting us. Please do keep your mails flowing at familyissues@huda.tv. Your comments and suggestions are always useful to us, and also give us your feedback on www.facebook.com/familyissues. That's one word. Until we meet again, thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alone, you are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, Prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your home. And always remember